Betrayed! 10 Republicans joined Democrats to give Haitian illegal aliens protected legal status. In the late 80s, Ronald Reagan gave blanket amnesty to millions of illegal immigrants. Did illegal immigration slow down, or was it fixed or stopped? No, it surged to levels unknown in American history.
Then there was the 2007 attempt sponsored by John McCain, Ted Kennedy, and Lindsey Graham. Well, grassroots, including my radio audience, revolted. It died. In 2013, it was the Gang of Eight. That was so bad that one of its sponsors, Marco Rubio, walked away from his own bill. So it became the Gang of Seven, and that crashed and burned too.
Unless we forget their more recent betrayals before this betrayal. Remember back in 2024, during the election, they were trying to pass that immigration reform bill that Trump campaigned against and told them, do not try to pass this, and they had to abandon it. You guys remember that? That bill would have allowed in around 1.8 million to 2.5 million illegal aliens into the country a year. And that was just one terrible provision among many terrible provisions in that bill. That bill was essentially an amnesty bill. The most terrible provisions being the fact that of that $118 billion granted in the bill, not very much of that actually went towards border security. $60 billion of that went to support Ukraine in its war with Russia. $14 billion of that went to Israel, and only $20 billion for border security. In what has to be one of the greatest, most deepest betrayals of America First ever. Maybe I'm being a little bit hyperbolic with the biggest betrayal ever. I mean, we do have this here. And we had all this crap then. So actually, this betrayal I'm about to tell you about right now is actually in a long tradition of betrayal by the Republicans. 10 Republicans crossed the aisle and voted with the Democrats to extend temporary protected status for hundreds of thousands of Haitian illegal migrants. And what's equally disturbing is the fact that these 10 Republicans all have something in common other than their predilection for illegal aliens. You know what that is? They are strong supporters of the state of Israel. Well, wouldn't you know, the neocons have made their voices heard again. This is what you have, people, when you have an allegiance to another foreign nation. That makes you more likely to accept millions of foreign invaders because you have no allegiance to this country. Your allegiance is to another country. I mean, if you're going to be loyal to a foreign nation, I highly doubt you're going to be loyal to the American people. These are the same people that called people like me and Tucker Carlson schnazies for bringing up demographic change. First off, let's identify who these bad faith actors are. Second of all, let's listen to what they have to say. Third of all, we need to get these people out of office. They need to be primaried the hell out of Congress. Representative Don Bacon, who received $1,291,908 from pro-Israel PACs. He's from a district in Nebraska.
Thank you very much for being here today. It's an honor to be here with not only my good friend Don Bacon, who is very hand, if you've noticed.
And Brand Coops.
And Jonathan Greenblatt, who is really just one of the greatest leaders we have right now, standing up to hate not just in the United States, but around the world. And I'm very grateful for him, for his friendship and incredible leadership. You know, we all know there's been an explosion of disinformation and anti-Semitic hate online and on social media platforms, not just here in our country, but around the world.
For those who don't know, the ADL is the Anti-Defamation League. It's basically the same thing as the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center that was just recently indicted. Except the ADL is even worse, if that can be imagined. For 100 years, the Anti-Defamation League has been defaming, targeting, harassing, blackballing and censoring conservative voices on the right. This is amazing, unbelievable. We actually have a Republican representative not only meeting and holding a press conference with Jonathan Greenblatt, head of the ADL. We have them finding common cause, trying to pass laws to censor millions of Americans. Representative Maria Salazar. Maria Salazar received $166,296. She's a representative from Florida. Now, more than ever, the United States' support for Israel must be clear and unwavering. I fully back our closest ally in the Middle East as it carries out Operation Rising Lion to respond to vicious attacks and growing threats. Israel has every right to defend its people, protect its sovereignty, and eliminate the terrorists who seek its destruction. And just in case you forgot, Maria Salazar is the Republican who proposed the bill that would give illegal aliens amnesty.
No more need to choose between amnesty or deportation. Dignity is not amnesty. Dignity is not path to citizenship. Dignity is just to give a dignified life in the promised land, the United States. Republicans and Democrats, we can definitely join forces, and we can pass this.
Representative Mike Lawler. Representative Mike Lawler received $684,000 from an Israeli lobby. He represents New York.
Deal with the undocumented that are in this country. Get them out of the shadows. You are talking about tens of millions of people who have been living in the shadows, undocumented, and it should be.
How about multiple DUIs?
That should be included. That should. I have been arguing for years that DWI should be included. Yeah. I had a case 2 years ago in my district where a illegal immigrant got arrested for a DWI, ended up killing a young boy.
They can stay
absolutely
under this
should be
legislation,
deported under those provisions.
Not going to happen.
I'm happy to.
Representative Brian Fitzpatrick. Representative Brian Fitzpatrick received $924,170 from pro-Israel PACs. He represents Pennsylvania. Representative Brian Fitzpatrick, a strong U.S.-Israeli alliance and real accountability for the Iranian regime are essential to America's security and global leadership. Today I sat down with representatives from the American-Israeli Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, including our own constituent advocate from New Hope, George Blank, his handler, to discuss how we move that work through initiatives I am championing in Congress. At the center of these efforts is H.R. 7540, the U.S.-Israeli Futures Act, which advocates joint defense innovation and strengthens our alliance to ensure America and Israel remain technologically superior, strategically aligned, and fully prepared to deter and defeat emerging threats. What that guy's saying right there is he wants to further entangle the United States and Israel's infrastructure, our military, our technological, our media, our social media, everything. They want control, 100% control. Alongside it, the Iran Human Rights, Internet Freedom and Accountability Act, which makes it clear where we stand with the Iranian people, not their oppressors. As the regime censors dissent, shuts down internet access, and brutally suppresses peaceful protests, this legislation expands secure connectivity and increases pressure on the corrupt officials responsible for repression and abuse. This is how we safeguard our national security, by supporting our allies, increasing pressure on malign actors, and standing firm with those fighting for freedom, democracy, and liberty. Thank you to George and the entire AIPAC team for your partnership as we continue advancing this critical work. Representative Carlos Jimenez. Jimenez received $233,687 from pro-Israel lobbies. He represents Florida.
Well, look, I don't think that Israel needs our military support. They need arms, they need weapons, they need additional Iron Dome missiles, anti-rocket missiles, that kind of stuff. And
the kitchen sink. We may as well give them the kitchen sink.
And our support, I think Israel has the capability, the capacity to defend itself. However, if it ever comes a time where Israel needs our help, I'm certainly there. Israel is our strongest ally in the Middle East. They share our values, and I am extremely pro-Israel, and I always have been, and I always will be extremely pro-Israel.
Representative Miliotakis. Representative Emilio Takas received $250,575 from pro-Israel lobbies. She represents New York.
The security of Israel is America's security as well, and we are so intertwined as partners.
Representative Mario Diaz-Balart. Balart has received $906,461 from pro-Israel lobbies.
This week, the president proposed spending, a big package of spending for Ukraine and for Israel and for humanitarian assets and also for the southern border. So I wanted to, for your constituents today, get your take on whether you support that or not.
Well, I'm still reviewing the details. I'll tell you it's a bit of a sticker shock. It's over $100 billion. I will tell you that we have to make sure that Israel has everything, and I mean that, everything that it needs.
He actually literally just said that in the same breath, but this is the level of mental dissonance that's going on with these MAGA advocates.
And I support Israel doing what it needs to do, by the way, and it might get ugly. It will get ugly. War is ugly, particularly when you're dealing with terrorists. But I support Israel doing what it needs to do. And so the portion for Israel, I'm looking through it. It looks to be what Israel is actually asking for. We are in touch with the Israeli government almost on a constant basis. I support defeating Putin. The problem that we're having with this proposal, it is not very clear. A big chunk of the money, by the way, that it says it is for Ukraine is not for Ukraine. It's actually for us, the United States, to make up the gap for armaments that have been already sent abroad. We need to do that. On the border, you also mentioned, border is not just money, it's policy. I will tell you, Glenna, that if anybody thought that we were going to be able to have this disastrous border situation without consequences, I think we're sitting on a ticking time bomb because of the grotesque irresponsibility of this administration to protect the southern border and to actually give to the control of the southern border to the narco cartels. So we're looking through it. We need to make sure that we provide Israel everything it needs. And this is going to be a long, drawn out, painful process. It might take days, weeks, or months.
Guys like this are the worst, the most repulsive, repugnant people on the planet. He is the worst of all worlds. Not only is he pro-war with Ukraine, he's pro-war for Israel, and he's also for amnesty for illegal aliens. Representative Rich McCormick represents Georgia, and he received $99,128. Representative Mike Turner. Representative Turner received $228,541 from pro-Israel lobbies, and he represents Ohio. Representative Mike Carey. Representative Carey received $31,300 from the Israeli lobby. He represents Ohio. So I thought perhaps he actually isn't a huge ally of Israel. Nope, definitely a strong ally of our quote-unquote greatest ally. Amazing to speak to OSU Hillel this morning as part of their Ohio Loves Israel conference. Oh my God. They actually have a conference called Ohio Loves Israel. Well, they're not very subtle with it, are they? We're proud to stand together in support of America's greatest ally, Israel. Well, I guess Mike just wasn't vociferous enough for him, because usually their bribery is pretty generous. $1,291,908. $166,296. $924,170, $233,687, $906,461, and they gave poor Mikey here $31,300. Like, dang, Mikey, man, if I was gonna sell my soul, I would ask for a little bit more money than that, partner. Now think about this, Republicans. If I wanted to vote for a party with mass migration, I'd vote for the Democrats. At least they don't support Israel.